get to the homeless, those
All right,
who.
hold that thought. Are you about to go live?
Okay.
Good evening. Happy holidays. Today is the 22nd of December, 3 days before everyone will be saying Merry Christmas to one another, family, friends, and all. This is Reality Strikes on Detroit in Black and White with Eric Brown. Have a great show for you tonight. I have Cherisa Allen as well as Eugene Lewis. They both have major events coming up tomorrow, as a matter of fact. And as always, on the Detroit in Black and White platform, we ask you to like, subscribe, and share with your network, your friends, and I'll pass it off to Cherisa so she could give details about the Feed the Community event that will be taking place in Ypsilanti, Michigan tomorrow.
Right. Hey, everyone. I am Cherisa Allen, the founder and executive director of Women and Men Working for Change. This is our 6th year hosting our Christmas dinner in the community, although it is our 3rd year hosting it at the Freight House Warming Center in Depot Town, Ypsilanti. Our ideal initially was to feed and serve the homeless and go where they're at. And we started outside downtown Ypsilanti, at on the side of Trojans Dry Cleaners and across from the AATA bus stop. We did that for a couple years, and what we realized was you really don't know what homeless looks like. You don't know who homeless is really. And what was happening is we found that parents were coming out. We were out in the cold, in the elements, serving food and having a good time. We had music, we had fun, we had giveaways, but we found that parents were bringing their children out and they weren't properly dressed due to whatever situation. Sometimes it was very difficult eating out in the cold. And then in 2022, Washtenaw County was shutting the city down, was shutting the county down because of the weather. The weather was very harsh in 2022. And so we had to do a pivot and move it and do some different things. And then after that, we thought about how about we just take it inside and go down in Depot Town to where they had a warming center where we would serve our desired population. And that first year, what happened was the 23rd fell on a Friday, and that's when the warming center was not open. And so we did get a lot of community. We got a lot of members from the community. We had a big crowd, and it was a very beautiful evening. The next year, we I'm getting all my years mixed up. It got bigger. And then last year we had a snafu, which actually worked in our favor because it fell on the actual day where the warming center was open. And we were able to actually get the crowd we desired. It was a very interesting kind of thing because we had to pivot, I think, within an hour and a half of the start time. Um, that day we served over 200 people. And
Wow.
that's not even with seconds. That was just those coming in line. Last year I was actually in the house, and I was able to on medical, and I was able to just get out for a few minutes, and I went down, and it was such a beautiful sight. Again, we have music, we have face painting, we have giveaways, uh hats, gloves, mittens, socks, coats. We had a good time last year, and this year we're looking forward to even a bigger and better time. We are back at the Freight House, the Warming Center, tomorrow, Tuesday, December 23rd, from 4 to 7 p.m. We have Ryan Griffin, Mellow Smooth Entertainment. He'll be DJing. We have Diane Brinson Days, who will provide face painting. Um, we have Taste of Soul by Biggies, who will be our caterer for the 3rd year. And they're ready to
Oh, so you
serve.
got Victor doing the food. Okay, that's cool.
Yep, they're serving ready to serve about we're planning for about 300 people. Um, we have Elevation Youth and Restoration Outreach Ministry who will be providing coats, hats, and gloves. I believe, and I don't like to call out names, but I believe nothing but cakes will provide cakes. We have others in the community who are donating. We have a plethora of volunteers who will be helping out from setup to breakdown and anything in between. I am excited about this year. I'm looking forward to it. It is a lot of work, and we're looking to have fun. So if you're around town, if you don't have anything to do, if you know someone who is in need of a hot home cooked meal, please send them our way. This is open to the community. Anyone and everyone is welcome to join us.
And the caterer does a great job with the food. So, Victor don't be messing around. So for those that have never had an experience with a taste of soul, they are in for a treat. I mean, I go back to my college days with Victor, so he definitely does a good job. And this is and I didn't know Freight House was a warming center as well, so that works out in you all's favor. And we'll come back to you in a minute, Cherisa. I wanted to get Eugene in on the conversation. And Eugene is a frat brother of mine, member of Kappa Psi, as is Cherisa, is a member of Delta Sigma Theta. And I want to welcome Karen Winston for joining us this evening. So the event tomorrow, Eugene, over at the Burke's Warehouse, is this an annual event or just an event that is annual but first time at Burke's? And tell the audience exactly what this event is all about.
Hi, thank you. Welcome. The event is all about gathering, networking, and having the opportunity for organizations who may not have had a platform or an opportunity to gather together over the holidays or to go for a collective program as far as helping less fortunate children. That's how it started. So Detroit Sports Zone is who's hosting it. So as Detroit Sports Zone gets ready to prepare for a list of activities in the upcoming year to benefit not only the students but also the community, it was a great opportunity to use the toy drive to kind of get a reintroduction, a recharge, and also to get the group of organizations that we would like to work with as we begin to prepare for the next year. So if I was putting together, it was kind of like, what time, what's the time frame? And different organizations, everyone had a gap that was, pretty specific to what they could do. So then I was discussing it with Mr. Burt, the owner, and from Choice Sports Zone, Mr. Darren, and he was like, why don't you just open it up? So when I opened it up and we found an opportunity to say from noon to midnight, and then DJ LaRock was able to find DJs to fill in the spots, and then the other sponsors, 100 Black Men, to mention a few, jumped in there and they decided to go ahead and host the hour. So basically, how I set it up was different organizations had an opportunity to host the hour during the 12-hour toy drive. So you're going to see different organizations who are going to be partnering with different organizations throughout the entire 12-hour toy drive. We have 12 different DJs that'll be there. We have podcasters that'll be there as well. So the organization get a chance to not only drop off toys and help that way, but also connect and get an opportunity to see who's really preparing for next year to really be beneficial to our community and our youth. And that was the biggest part for me, to kind of fill in a gap, because everyone has a time of no one's available, holiday, work, responsibilities. So open it up 12 hours. You can get anywhere in the world and back in 12 hours. So it was kind of open it up. So having a time schedule that was restrictive wasn't a goal. And we opened it up 12 hours, and that's how it started.
So will there be people bringing in toys the whole 12 hours? And after you receive all the toys, what's the distribution process?
We will be collecting toys throughout the entire 12 hours. Like I mentioned, the organizations will be hosting the 12 hours. So they're going to be actually having members of their particular groups to come in at a specific time. And then that
Okay.
time it will be dedicated to that particular hosting hour of that particular organization. I think 100 Black Men are coming at 5 or 6.
Yeah, I think
I think Divine Nine should be there at 9. I know Kappa Alpha Psi and Omega said 11. So I don't know exactly who's going to do what, but as far as the interactions, the most important part, and then after that, the Prince Hall Shriners is going to be the organization in which we're going to disperse the organization throughout the state of Michigan, and that
Oh,
will be
state of Michigan. Okay.
yeah. So that'll be coordinated with that organization as well.
And with these being very important events in the community of Detroit that will be distributed throughout the state, the community of Ypsilanti, Willow Run, Lincoln, Ann Arbor, what motivates and drives you to be so benevolent this time of year?
I think for me, I kept hearing. I go to a lot of different meetings and move about a lot, and I kept asking. Everyone was saying that they wanted to do something, but maybe not had the time or what's the location, and me being able to have a couple of different resources on hand, I decided to put it together and just ask them if they were interested, and they were interested, but I was having a lot of issues with the timing. So opening it up just opened up some ideas that all the volunteers, all the other sponsors had this concept already. It was just finding a location to have it and host it, and that's what I was able to bring together with the help of Detroit Sports Zone, and it worked out.
And Ms. Sheila makes a great point. Collaborating is everything great, is everything and great ideas. And I want to welcome Ms. Sheila, Duela Boyce, as well as Jill Sheridan. Thank you all for joining us this evening. And as far as you, Cherisa, I know you do a lot in the Ypsilanti area. Your background is always about helping people. You do a 5K event every year.
Yeah.
So this time of year, what is it about doing for the community and giving back? I mean, we could do it all year round, but I just feel that the holiday season is just that time where you have to um, go out into the community. And I think one of you mentioned it. You never know what people are going through,
Yeah.
and it's just a great opportunity to get back.
Well, for me and for my organization, for me, I just, my thing is, you just never know what people are going through. You never know what's happening in people's personal lives, no matter how they show up. And so I wanted to make sure, me and my previous board, we wanted to make sure that everybody had an opportunity to have a hot home cooked meal. And so that's what fueled us. If we can make sure everyone had a hot home cooked meal. And as I spoke about the very first year, I'm going to tell a quick story. So one of my daughters live in Texas. And as I stated, the first year we were downtown Ypsilanti, set up across from the AATA bus stop. And my daughter Jasmine called me later that evening and kept and said, Mama, she said, thank you so much for doing what you're doing. And I said, oh, okay, it's no big deal. And she said, nah, Mom, you never know who you're touching. She said, one of my girlfriends, one of my schoolmates from Ypsilanti called me and said, I just want you to know I appreciate your mother. And so my daughter said, oh, okay. She said, no, she said, I was on the city bus, didn't have any money, just had got off work and sitting there like almost in tears because I was trying to figure out how I would eat. And as we came up to the AAT Transit Center, the main bus stop, someone said, oh, y'all can go over there and get some food. And she said, and when I got over there and they were serving real food, fried chicken, mashed potatoes, a salad, pop, dessert, and everything, she said, I started crying because I had nothing to eat. I had no food, and I had about $2 or $3 in my pocket. I work every day trying to make ends meet. And I was sitting on the bus trying to figure out how was I going to get me some food? And I stepped off the bus and your mother and her organization was over there. So that's my drive. That's my why, because you really don't know what people are going through. We think that everybody's working is all right, that they're set, and then we label people who don't work as lazy, and those who are transitioning in housing, it must be their fault. And it's so much bigger than that. And the times that we're living in right now, Eric, is so much bigger. And so if we can be a beacon of hope and light, then my job is done.
And that's a great story, Cherisa, because I tell this story a lot. 2 years ago, doing one of my 5K walks, I was down at Wayne State University. A mom who was in grad school at Wayne State in the School of Education, she was on her way to class. She happened to see the information booth as well as the 5K event. Mm-hmm. And she said her daughter's down there with her. She's over in the library doing some studying, but I'm going to call her, tell her to come check out these books you have. Because, I give books, all my books I give away free. Mm-hmm. Thanks to Lisa and Ernesto and others that contribute books. Oh, so her daughter came over there, and, we always pulling out cameras when there's some type of catastrophe and things of that nature. And me and another one, my frat brother, we were just talking. And then all of a sudden I hear this crying, this sniffling. And I was like, oh, wow, are you okay? And one of the things that people need to understand, particularly about literacy, we as a people, we being Black people, are more apt to pick up a book if we see someone that looks like us on the cover.
Yes.
So this girl's 10 years old, Cherisa, 10 years old. And she just, I turn around and, these tears falling down her eyes. I was just telling a frat brother about this last week, a week ago today. Mm-hmm. A frat brother of mine by the name of Darren Washington. Mm-hmm. And I was like, are you okay? She said, I just never seen so many books with people that look like me on the cover. Oh, wow. And that was a moment where me or my frat brother started talking to one another. We should have recorded that, because that's a testimony that is so authentic you cannot reduplicate. So it would have been wrong for us to tell her to start over.
Yes. Right. Hold on.
Yeah, hold on.
Hold on. Can you show them tears again? Yeah. Yeah,
it was such an authentic moment, Cherisa. And then in addition to that, she started, pulling out what little money she had. Like, let me give you a donation. I said, no, these books are free. You can take as many as you want. Mm-hmm. And then, at my events, I had well over 100, 200 books. Mm-hmm. And I say, whatever you want, you can take. And with her mom doing a break, because, Wayne State, you in the College of Education, you're down there all day on Saturday. So her mom came out there doing one of her breaks because she knew that her daughter was coming over there, to make sure she made it safe from the main library to the spot where we were at, near the union, student union. And how you doing, Councilman Tucson? Hope you're feeling better, by the way. I know he's a little bit under the weather. And when her mom came over there, her mom was asking her the same thing, baby, are you okay? And she told her mom the same thing, that, Mom, I've just never seen. Her mom is in education already. She's just pursuing her master's. You in education since you need that master and doctorate for that, promotion.
Yeah, to that next level. Yes.
Her mom was even taken away. So that just goes to show how important it is for us as a people have access to books, so that we see people on the cover that look like us, we're more likely are going to pick it up. Because I have an initiative that's going to, kick off next year, as a matter of fact. Yes. A lot of people know about my passion with literacy.
Yes.
A fellow alum.
We do.
A fellow alum from Eastern Michigan University. He lives in Virginia. Uh-huh. He reached out to me one day last week saying that, Eric, I have this idea. And he ran it by me. And the idea is so great that we are going to include, already got support from a former dean of a college out east, as well as the former secretary of agriculture in the state of Virginia. Okay. And the reason why the agriculture guy is involved, he's a Black guy, Black farmer and everything. Mm-hmm. He's the only Black person to ever serve in the position of Secretary of Agriculture in the state of Virginia. So there'll be two initiatives into one with regards to a book series. Mm-hmm. One will focus on the ecosystem, mm-hmm. farming, waterways, camping, hiking, and things of that nature, and giving our people an opportunity to understand that life. Mm-hmm. Because I never forget, when I was a facilitator for the leadership program at Eastern Michigan University, and we had sophomores and juniors that had never been out in the wilderness
In the
to go
world, right?
camping. And
Because
these
we don't just do that. We don't just do
don't
that.
do that. And
Yes.
so one of the focus of the series will be focusing on the wilderness ecosystem and all that, life beyond your surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
And life beyond your surroundings will give people an opportunity to understand how a farm operates and how pigs, cows, and whatever, chickens, how they go from the farm to your kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
to your plate.
Yes.
How
yes.
grains go from the farm to become bread on your plate and things like that, vegetables.
Yeah.
And that will be one focus of the series. The other focus will be getting people to understand about careers.
Mm-hmm.
The initial idea I came up with was be what you see.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of find out that title's already taken. A black woman in Waco, Texas, who happens to be the sheriff of Waco, Texas, has that series of books already.
Oh, wow. You said a black woman?
A black woman, yeah. She's the chief of police in Waco, Texas.
Okay.
So her book series is like me, like say for example, how my gym, when I used to play a lot of basketball, I'm in my gym apparel, mm-hmm. and as I'm looking into a mirror, because she has it set up where you're in regular clothes, you look into her and you see whatever career that you want to be, and you're dressed as a doctor, you're dressed as a lawyer, you're dressed as an engineer. Mm-hmm. So that focus will be the future you. That's going to be the series of that book, Be the Future You, where you're, like for the doctor series, we say doctor, everybody just think the general practitioner, internist, and all that. But the book will focus on every aspect and every career of what you can be as a doctor, anesthesiologist, ophthalmologist, psychiatrist. So it will focus on all that. Same with the firemen, same with the sanitation workers, skilled trades, and all that, because we have to be able to get our kids to think big, and not just think big, envision themselves in these roles.
And see themselves in a much better place than they are right now. I want people to see themselves outside of what's here, what's right in their
in your environment. Correct.
Yeah.
And that's why the focus for live beyond your surroundings. I think that's, even going back to, many, the thing about 15, 20 years ago when I did the leadership for Eastern Michigan University, I was a facilitator, and let me see, this is 2025. So I think it was pre-COVID. So it was either 19 or 2021. May have been 2021, where, I assisted my fraternity brothers at Eastern Michigan University with one of your sorority sisters who was an RA at the time. She went on to become the assistant dorm director in Phelps Sellers. And we did a program on mental health. So here you have, and it was in the freshman center, first year center. So here you have nothing but first year students, male and females. And when I hear a young man say, "Wow, I've never been in a spot." I mean, he went through graduation. I would have thought that a lot of people at graduation has on a suit and tie. But he just said he never seen so many black men in one room with a suit and tie all at once. And I'm like, and this was in 2021. Yeah, it was 24 years ago. I'm like, wow. And when you hear that, you just be like, wow, because we will always be in the spectrum of first year students, first generation students.
You just never know, Eric. You never know.
You never know, because when I went to college, I was a generation of first year students, but that was a while ago. Now you have people still saying first generation students. And
it is. It's a big thing.
I know it is. Yeah, it will always be a thing.
It's always going to be, and you don't know. And so one of the things I should add that is important. I am a MSW social worker.
Right.
So everything I do, I am a graduate a two-time graduate of Eastern Michigan University with my bachelor's and my master's degree there. And everything I do it with love. It comes from the heart. It comes from my own lived experience. It comes from a place of love, because I never want people to experience some of the things that I've experienced in
Right,
life.
correct.
I was raised in a single family home. My mother was a pastor, but when she came up, she was, what's the word? She was laying the groundwork for women in ministry
Right.
around this area. And so um, she taught me what community is. And I didn't ask for it, Eric. I'm going to be very honest. I really just got in this role in 2016 when I was separated from service, because I didn't have my full license at the Valley Prison, state of Michigan. When I worked for MDOC, I didn't have my
Oh,
full license.
Huron Valley. Okay.
Yes, I worked there for many years, and they literally, those women there, I actually wrote my book because of those women. So everything I do is rooted in love, rooted in a place of being humble, grateful, and thankful, and making sure I'm lifting while I'm climbing. And that's our vision of Women and Men Working for Change, is lifting while we climb. And so this meal, this hot meal, this coming together, this bringing the community together for only a couple hours on the 23rd of December every year is big. It really is. And so I have, I know you know Anthony Williamson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Anthony, he contracts with us, and he is the chair, so he moves things, and I love it. You said Councilman Tucson is on. That's the president of president of the board of Women and Men Working for Change, and so everything is rooted in love. Is making sure others, because we are so quick to just make assumptions and label people and assume that everybody know and has had the same upbringing as us. As you said about the suit, it's not. It's not. I work in the school system. I work in the school system. I just did a holiday celebration for our unhoused families, or those are in transition with housing. I just did that last Wednesday. And when I say giving back, like, it really, I do it so much that sometimes my friends ask me to just sit down.
Right.
But I really do also believe, as the young lady said, that collaboration. So I thank you. And I didn't do that initially. Thank you for having me on, because people need to know that it is not just this time of season. For me, it's every day. It's a walk every day that I do, because I never want people to be left behind. I never want people to feel like they're not good enough. I never want people to think that they don't belong. I've been in all of these spaces. I'm feeding everybody. And so even those that are prideful, and they may be working 40 hours, making $22, $25, $27 an hour, and are still trying to make ends meet. This meal is for you too, because we all know, and you talk about it on your platform, we just in a different day and time, and we can't just fuss about it. We
Right.
can't sit and just be talking about it. We
Come
have
on,
to,
you have to do. And one
we
of the
have
things
to
that
do.
people have to
Yes,
understand, a purpose finds you. You don't find the purpose.
yes.
And I tell people Friday, when I spoke at a elementary school on Friday as part of an event. And one of the things I told the students, as well as the teachers, the assistant principal, because the question was asked, how did I get involved in literacy?
Mhm.
I was like, on March the 5th, 2017, I'm reading the article in Crane's magazine. And the irony of it is that I was at Durfee K through 8 on Friday.
Mhm. Yes, I saw that. Yep.
Durfee K through 8 is the feeder school to Central Michigan High School.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
they all attach. And I told the assistant principal Mayfield, I say, ironically, the article was focused on a 12th grader at Central High School who was reading at the first grade level. And when you see and read something like that, you just are taken aback. You like, wow, hold up, how is this? You have to go back and actually understand if you read what you just read. A 12th grader reading at the first grade level. Yes. And after that, I was like, hold up. Then once I started doing research, sadly, Cherisa, that was common. That was common. So they just passing these kids along. So I had to ask myself, what can you do to make a difference in this space? And as I told the young kids on Friday, one of my favorite records is Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Because you have to understand that change starts with you. But it does not start with you until you can see what needs to be the change.
Yeah.
And ever since then, that's how I got involved in the literacy space. And, it's just interesting over the last month or so, a lot of people have been reaching out to me, wanting me to be a part of these different initiatives. There's going to be a great initiative starting in Pontiac next month that is called the Pontiac Project. And to be asked to be a part of that was probably one of the most humbling asks that I have received over the last 8.5 years of being involved with this. I mean, I've won many awards. I mean, Eastern Michigan Alumni Award, my fraternity, the Brother of the Year twice for the region, the highest award you could get in every chapter I've ever been in. And it's all because of the work. It goes back to me being a Boy Scout. My benevolence and giving back goes back to when I was in elementary school, being a Boy Scout. And it's just something that has been embedded in me. So I think people need to understand life is not just about the life you live. Life is about, and people need to also understand what being a servant leader is. Anyone can be a leader, but there's a difference between being a leader and a servant leader.
Servant leader.
As long as you know you're doing it for the common good, not for yourself.
Yes.
I tell people all the time, particularly people who give a lot of speeches, quit using the word I and me.
Yes.
And incorporate the word we and us into your presentation. You have to, because no one got to where, I mean, the president is as much of a lunatic as he is, he didn't get there on his own. He might think that. Barack Obama did not get there on his own.
Nobody. No, it's all of us. It's like the lady said, that collaboration is the lifting as you climb. It's the servant leader is the humbleness in you. It's the person who I don't need spotlights on me. I don't. Spotlights end up on me, but I don't need that. I'm doing whether there's a light or not. I'm showing up whether there's a light or not. I'm giving whether there's a light or not. Wherever I see a void, I am determined to fill it. I think outside the box, Eric. I color outside the line. I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. I think it's enough work for us to do great and mighty things. And I'm going back to that word collaboration because I do believe collaboration is the key to anything. You just invited me on here. Collaboration, allowing our voices to be heard, to share what we're doing down in Detroit, up here in Ypsilanti. Collaboration, bringing people together.
It's all right. And there's also, far too often, and that's one of the problems with unity. Everybody want to be the chief. Nobody wants to be the Indian. That's probably unity. And one of the things that, whenever I give events, if I'm hosting the event, people always ask, well, was the turnout what you expected? My philosophy on turnout, Cherisa, if one person shows up, I'm fine with that because that's one person that would be able to tell your story to someone else based on their experience and what you presented to them.
Yeah. My mother would always say, She would always tell us, I'm the oldest of 8 children. My mother would always say, I got to get up in the pulpit and preach, whether it's one person sitting in the congregation or 1,000. It doesn't matter. I was charged with feeding the sheep, the flock, and I'm going to get up there, whether it's 1 or 1,000, and whoever is there is supposed to be there, and they gonna take it and spread it. And so that's where I am. My domestic violence walk we do every year, as you alluded to earlier. I am looking to grow it. I really want to grow it. I'm thinking again outside the box how to expand it, because domestic violence is near and dear to my heart.
Oh, and
And
plus, there's been some very, I mean, the situation today in Inkster. I mean, that was a
yes,
result of domestic violence. A
yes,
guy unfortunately got killed by his
yes.
sister's, by his girlfriend's sister. I mean, so that was a domestic violence.
A
The
young guy, young
Westland,
guy.
yeah, young guy, 25 years old, the Westland bell ringer. That was a domestic violence
Domestic
situation.
violence. The
So
young
people
lady
need to
that got
understand.
killed, the man, her ex who came to her, worked
Yeah,
in the
Henry Ford
hospital.
Hospital
And,
came to the hospital, and
mhm,
just like with you talk about growing. I have to give a shout out to Kalisa. I'm not sure if she's watching or listening, but her event will be the recipient of one of the recipients of the big 5K walk that U of M does every April.
yeah, yeah. We got that 2 or 3 years ago. Yep, we were a
And it just goes
recipient.
to show,
Yep.
if when people recognize your work, they recognize you, and it's always humbling to be recognized. But like you said, Cherisa, neither one of us do this for us.
I
We do
can't
it to
do
make
it
the
for me.
community better, and we do it to make people better.
Yes, we do. And that's the thing. And so, Eric, when you really talk about literacy, I sit in several different spaces. So I'm also a part of our community violence intervention
Right, in the vision
team
group.
here in Washtenaw County. And we do a summit every year. And one of the things the county gives us, public health gives us some data to use. And being a social worker is social worker. It's not really new to me or even alarming, because I've been in this space for 30 some odd years. But what we do know is it starts in the home. What the kids see, what they don't see, what they try to see, what they try to hide from, it starts in the home. So when you talk about literacy, when we talk about domestic violence, when we talk about first generation students, when we talk about homelessness, it's all tied into what our children are seeing.
And it's cyclical. That's one of the most disappointing things about it,
Yeah,
cyclical. But the
yeah.
one thing I do when when I'm asked to give a speech about literacy and things of that nature, education, the one thing that I take into consideration, Cherisa, is this. We say it starts at home,
Mhm.
but I throw in the quote that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King stated about lifting oneself up by the bootstraps.
Mhm.
And I ask a bootless man to lift himself up by the bootstraps. To that
Right.
same token, people have to understand the educational crisis started about 30 years ago.
Mhm.
So these 30-year-olds are the ones having kids in school now. So the kids cannot. So the caveat I always share is that you can't ask an uneducated parent to be there to assist in educating their kids because they don't know themselves. And I think I always give a little bit of pushback because, it's common sense that you want better, you want it better for your kids and your life growing up. I want it better for my kids,
Yes.
from when I grew up in Detroit. You always want better for your offsprings. But unfortunately and sadly, a lot of these adults don't know any better.
They
And
don't.
that's where it starts at home because they only give off what they know.
You only know what you know, and a lot of them they don't. I worked down in Western Wayne County for about 14 years, Eric, and
At the juvenile place or at the
I worked at DHS. I was a
Oh,
foster care
okay.
CPS, juvenile justice worker, and all of that. That's where I started my career, down there on Ecorse Road in Taylor, Michigan. And I worked in the Western Wayne area. And one of the things that I saw, I remember very vividly, this little, just about 10, 12-year-old young man. Um, his mother was in a dire domestic violence. And that was back when we weren't lifting it as we do now. And he literally went off on his mother.
Wow.
But all you heard, all I was able to hear was everything the daddy had said to the mother. Like, the dad was notorious for pulling her out the apartment, whipping her butt in the middle of the street, and all of that. And so I literally, Eric, had to refrain myself, I had to breathe, because I was like, do you lose your job by snatching him up, or do you wait a minute? I didn't know about restorative justice and all of that back then. So I'm over there like, what the, who, how? And but you could hear everything he was saying was what he heard. And the
Oh,
mother was reacting. She was reacting in a, okay, okay.
a docile way, because that's how she used her hand.
That's
Actually,
how
her husband did it.
and
And
I'm sitting there like, I, I was like, hey, come on, let's do a timeout here. But she talked about that with me. She talked about what's going on. So you don't know unless you know. And then, so I mean, we're going in different directions, coming back to the same thing. But just, that's why domestic violence is so personal to me, because we don't know. When you're in a relationship, when you're at home, when you have been cussed out and talked about and called the B word, and you think that's just a term of endearment, and women go get in these same relationships and are upset when they're not beating. Now I want to say upset when they don't know how to function in a
in a
relationship,
real relationship,
where there's no violence or no put downs, because they don't know that a relationship really is.
because they haven't experienced normalcy.
They
And I
haven't.
work with working with some kids this past summer,
Yes.
and these seventh, sixth, seventh, eighth grade, no, even as young as fifth grade, fifth,
Yes.
sixth, seventh, eighth grade boys calling these girls the B word. And the young ladies accepting that like it's a regular conversation, like, hey, how you doing? No. And then we had to pull these guys to the side, like, first of all, y'all go quit cussing,
Yep.
or don't worry about coming back to be in our group. And also telling the girls, don't let a guy call you that. That's unacceptable.
Yes.
No, that's unacceptable. Then we had a guy that did it on one day to one girl. A couple of days later, he did the same thing to another. I said, no. And I went to the dean of students, like, no, he would not be he would not be a part of our.
On your post. Did you put that on your post?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
yep, I remember reading that.
I said he would not be a part of our group, And my recommendation, it's a double-edged sword when you want to kick them out the program, because they'd be at home doing nothing.
Doing nothing, right?
Right. I say, so the dean was like, well, what do you want us to do? I say, you asking me? Because you asked me, I say, kick him out the program. He said, well, if he at home, he could be doing. I say, well, the time he's supposed to be coming with us, y'all keep him. He will not be in our group again. We will not have this poison pill in our group constantly calling black girls the B word. But because obviously that's something he's used to hearing at home.
But so let me say this, Eric, how do we, instead of kicking them out, because let's think.
Well, we didn't kick him out. We kicked him out of our group.
I know, but let's think about this though. Let's go back to like when we're in school, when we say kick the kids out. If we put them out, how can they learn? Could we have come? And it's just me. I'm playing the devil's advocate. I think about things about. I have experienced that, like, oh, they can't be here. But then my thing is, but can they be here? And what can we do to adjust our programming, situation, however, to give them, to sit them in a space where they can actually take something in.
Well, it goes back to the mantra: "Fool me once, shame on you; fool me twice, shame on me."
Okay.
So we had a talk with him the first time.
Okay.
We should not have to have the same talk with you again, particularly when you're doing it to a different person.
Mm-hmm. But if
So
it's a learned behavior,
right,
if
and that's
it's a
why, he wasn't with us. He was with the dean. We let the
okay,
dean deal with him
okay,
because
okay.
I wasn't going to keep, because we had,
I know you want to maintain.
yeah,
I know,
yeah.
we want to maintain. I just always think about, I do, after I work with kids or anybody, I do a reflection of what is that behavior? Is that something that
Oh,
because
definitely learned behavior without a
they
doubt.
want attention, and some
Right.
people don't know how to get it other than being a menace
And
or
that dean has been with him for the last couple of years.
mhm,
He was with him during the time, and he wasn't with us. And the guy is in the 6th grade, so he got 2 more years with that same dean.
mhm.
And it's up, because he didn't want to, initially he wanted to kick him out, but he said, okay, kicking him out, that's not going to do him any good. He'd just
No,
be at
that's not
home in,
right.
in an environment where he probably have to get used to, well, not used to, he's already used to hearing it. He'd hear that same thing over
Well,
and over
he's just
again.
back into he's still
Right.
back into in the same environment.
And all they're doing is acting out in an environment that they see,
Yeah.
they're duplicating what they say at home, most likely.
And sometimes kids are what I do also, even, and let me not just say kids, because I sit with adults and you do too, and people act out because they're uncomfortable.
Yeah, that.
You
And same
understand?
with, yeah, it could be
And
even
it's not
with
just kids, it's adults
most
too.
adults too. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's adults too.
uncomfortable with growing, uncomfortable bit with being uh challenged to think different, to do different, to be different. Um, and again, when we talk about the community and we talk about doing all the work that we do, Eric, I know your work, even though it is literacy, it goes beyond literacy because you have to address many other things before you even get to the root of it, literacy. And
Right.
so I just look at reflecting on how we can do. I know we all can make a small impact and
And it starts somewhere,
start
without a
somewhere.
doubt. So,
Yeah.
Kenneth Powell, I want to thank you for asking people to like and share. Angela Browder, your comment with regards, it is. It is more than just an idea. I mean, it's powerful in its active service. We all have a role to play in this thing called life.
Yes. Yes.
And let me see the name on this. Tasmanian 1721, the BIA government is helping people relink themselves to the tribes through past registries like the dog rolls. It's important we utilize every part of government to get things done. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. Miss Sheila, her comment is, now the sons are bullying their mothers, to your point,
Yeah.
Cherisa, and afraid of
Mhm.
their mothers, where the mothers are afraid of them.
Yeah, and their
When
sons
the
used to
sons
be
used to be
afraid.
afraid of
Yeah.
their moms
Yeah. Yeah.
or don't
Boy,
know
you
how to accept rejection.
yeah.
Duela Boy, she says that shows like this. Hold up. It shows like this that bring awareness to our communities of just how our youth are seeking attention and need intervention. They definitely need intervention, and that
Definitely.
goes into the next point by Par Orgs, and he brings up a good idea because once upon a time the Scared Straight program worked.
It did.
It worked. So
Nobody wanted to be associated with Scared Straight.
something has
Yeah.
changed in our society where you know I'm not even sure they have a program. And I talk to the police chief in Detroit on a regular basis. Next time I talk to him, I'm going to ask him or even Captain Leonard, who's over the community service, if they do still have a Scared Straight program in the Detroit juvenile system.
I wonder that because we talk about that also up here with the
Yeah, Washington. Do they have one in Ypsilanti
I
or
don't
Washington County?
know. I wonder. We've spoken about it in the CVI circle in the CVI meetings I sit in, and I can't really remember if we have it or we talked about maybe bringing it back or talked about bringing some component. But one of the things that when you deal with these youth, I remember when I first started at the high school back in 17, Eric, I was so taken aback because when we came up through high school and when we were raised, Eric, and I'm saying we, us, our age group, we respected teachers, elders.
Well, we respect the adults in general.
In general, you didn't, there was no room to talk back. If you talk back under your voice, under your breath, or you went in the bathroom and said whatever you said. You didn't go cussing nobody out. You wasn't looking, staring an adult up and down. And so,
And if they didn't hear you, they at least pretended to have heard you to make sure that you don't get any louder to embarrass
yeah,
yourself. They have to check you
yeah.
again.
And so I just think about some of the young people I ran, I encountered during that time. And I remember these three young men. And I remember the one young man told me, we talked about what did he want to do. And he said, I want to be a pharmacist like my uncle. And so, me, Eric, me and my education, I'm like, oh, a pharmacist.
That's
Yes.
admirable. not knowing he's talking about the street pharmacist.
Until someone said, well, your uncle doing time. And I was like, so seriously, Eric, because I'm from the hood, but sometimes I be getting lost in conversation, and I'm like, he a pharmacist, and I was like, wait, what you talking about selling drugs? I mean, the Fallon, that ain't what we call it now. He started doing this street talk. Long story short, I had come from working in the prison system. And I always talk to the young people like I worked in there. I worked behind. I was in the units with the inmates or whatever. Eric, I just it ain't no way I can imagine myself in that cell like that. Is first of all, it ain't big enough. You only have this much. Your area of control is very minute. And so I'm talking to them about sleeping on plastic, hard plastic, and having to be told when to go and when to do, and so they were just because they want to be in the street. A few years later, Eric, it made national. It was on TV and on the news and all of that. One of the young men was in a shootout and down there by Perry School. They clocked down the school and all of that. And I was working at Park Ridge at the same time. And the week before they came in, and they was like, Miss Allen, we ain't gonna talk to you because all you want to do is be our mama and tell us what to do. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean,
I might need to tell y'all what to do.
I want to keep you safe because what you don't know is that juvenile detention, that's a Marriott. I worked in the prison. It ain't nothing like that. And y'all not ready for that kind of life. I know this for sure. Okay. I know this for sure. And about 10 days later, Eric, one of the young men that was in that group, he's doing, I think, 20 years.
Wow.
For killing the guy. They just, and I don't know if it's the belonging. I don't know. I remember my son called me because there was another mass arrest when the young Caucasian guy, I don't know if you remember that story, the Caucasian guy from Eastern was killed in his car over in Glencoe Hills. And
oh, yeah.
And so I remember my son calling me and with a heavy heart, like, Mama, all my homeboys they going to prison. They going to prison. What's going on? And I'm like, I don't know. And I'm saying it because I'm like, guys, I'm behind the walls. I see it. This ain't the life you want.
And not just that, Cherisa, a lot of those that are going to prison, it's a reunion for them because they hooking back up with their boys from the street.
And having a one, I don't, I don't understand it. I know up here we have been pushing back with, talking about not letting these
Yeah,
kids
the
out
no
of
bail,
juvenile,
yeah,
yeah, out of juvenile detention so quick, but I'm like, juvenile detention in prison, y'all got to understand that's two whole different worlds. That's
and it was so unfortunate because I watch a lot of court TV, and there was a young man who committed a crime when he was 14 years old, killed this young lady. I mean, she just happened to be taking out the trash, and he firing his gun
yeah,
all willy nilly.
yeah.
And this was 2 years ago. He was just sentenced on Friday to life without the possibility of parole. 16 years old, and this was in Wisconsin, so they don't have the they don't have the issues there. They have no problem putting a juvenile. And then the guy. I mean, I watched some of the trial. Guy Court TV is one of the channels I DVD, and watching some of the trial. And I posted about this on Facebook as well because I knew when his attorneys, well, he made the decision to take the stand.
Mm-hmm.
When he took the stand, I knew he was going to be found guilty.
Mm-hmm.
His appearance on the stand was just sad. I mean, sad. You could tell he was not mentally proficient to be able to answer the questions with the need to be able to answer the questions. But I knew when he got put on the stand that he was going to be found guilty. And to see, you had the victim impact statements. You had the statements from his those that were in support of him. It was just, it was sad, but at the same time captivating because you want to, you listen to these people talk against him, you look at these people talk in favor of him, and then you listen to the judge who makes the ultimate decision. And even some of the things that he's doing while he's locked up, while he was being detained, lets you know. And that's one of the things the judge talked about. You and the prosecutor, you've done some things that shows us rehabilitation is just not in the cards for you.
It's not in the and it's like that. I mean, I was in prison and I remember some of the people who some of the women, because I was at the women's prison, I crossed paths with during that time. Some of them just told me that prison is their safe haven, Eric.
Wow.
So they commit crimes so
To
they
be in
can go back
prison.
to prison. Like
Yeah,
they
like
get
they
out.
say, they get. I don't know what the meal's like in prison, but they look forward to them 3 hots in a cot.
And that's what they do. Like this, speak. I was at the Huron Valley, so I was with women, but they would talk about just this world is hard to live in. Like prison gives them structure no matter what.
And Dwayla makes a point that you pretty much touched on a little while ago, in addition to the previous comment about kids raising kids. But she said, educate the youth about slavery and how police were the early slave catchers, which they were. Show them how we work together to free ourselves. Show them how the slave masters used to eat black people. Yeah, I heard about the cannibalism and all that. So this is they need to understand that this stuff ain't no joke.
It is. And so trying to instill that, trying to fear that, we did a wall downtown on the side of the Corner Health Building with names of all of our slain young people.
Wow.
I don't want to say young people, those who were killed by guns.
Gun violence.
And so it's a big road. It's downtown on the side of the Corner Health Center. And
that's just Hamilton, right?
Yep. And just standing down there watching people weep. And I remember when it first went up, Eric, I remember my inbox was jumping and my phone, text messages like, Cherisa, I just want to thank your group, because these were mostly street people,
right.
And for them, they felt like somebody felt their pain, was acknowledging their pain, that these people mattered too. And so sitting there and looking at those names and remembering the stories, and some of them, my one of my girlfriends I grew up with, Stacy Mack. I grew up with her, and oh Lord have mercy, everything is running together. Was that last year? 2 years? It was a year ago. It's 24, May 24. I remember I was in Boston at a conference and I received a call, and the person said, "Well, what's what's the name of your friend Stacy's son?" And I remember saying the name, because she has two boys, and they said, "Yeah, that's the one." And I said, "The one what?" He was killed.
Wow.
And I remember him. I remember Sean. Sean, I remember when Sean was born. I remember, we grew up together. I remember him in her womb, and I'm just like, huh? And I'm just, I wasn't here. So just thinking about how close it can hit you,
It can hit you, right. And then people don't really understand it until it does hit them. And,
Yeah.
like Tamara Komet, she makes a great point. And I always tell people watch the movie about Anna DuVernay, 13th, because that speaks to this. Prison is slavery continued. The 13th Amendment pretty much states that, and people need to understand that.
Yes.
Let me get some of these last comments because we are out of our time. Another minute.
We're
Happy holidays to all. Thank you,
holidays. Yeah.
Mr. 1213. Yeah, happy holidays. And then Tasmania, I think that was Tasmania. Yeah. 1721. I'm thinking about leaving Detroit to move to Uganda. Life is simple in the villages and everybody work together. Many people are leaving America for Africa and Central America. Yeah, I think that I was reading something recently about how there's been an uptick in those leaving America to go to
yeah, my sister is talking about it a lot.
go to Africa.
Yeah.
And Tamika Rainey, thank you as well for happy holiday to you as well. Any last words and information about tomorrow before we go? And I give a shout out to some of these other individuals that joined us this evening that I may have missed. I got to Tamika Rainey, Tasmanian, Mr. 1213, Part Org, he's a regular. Duela Boyce is a regular to all of the programs on the Detroit Black and White channel. Miss Sheila as well, Karen Winston, Angela Browder, at least a regular to my show. First time seeing you, Roland Tucson. Hopefully it won't be your last time watching. I know you only came on because your girl was on, but you got to check me out too, bro.
That's how you started, though. That's how you started. You bring in people to get more people. But
now, Roland, I'm messing with him. I'm just messing with the councilman.
I just want to say to those who are listening, if you are in the area, if you're not in the area, you are still welcome to join us. We will be at the Warming Center, the Freight House in Depot Town in Ypsilanti tomorrow from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., serving a hot meal for everyone. All are invited. We have music, we have face painting, we have giveaways. We have some great food, some great desserts. Come on out. Thank you, Eric, for giving me this platform to share about women and men working for change. We are here. Our focus is on domestic violence, but is thinking outside the box, coloring outside the lines. We have a 5K every year, the first Saturday in October. So please check me out. We are on Facebook. We would love to hear from others. I am open to collaborations across streets, counties, wherever it's in my blood. I love to help. I love to give, and I do it with a humble and servant's heart.
And I definitely got to mention this recommendation from Tamara Kemet, put the youth in an education program that would teach them their history and how they are being socialized to kill each other. Give them Dr. Francis Cress Westling's book, The ISIS Paper. I'm familiar with that book, so thanks for that recommendation, Tamara. And then the last comment comes from Kenneth Powell. Salute to all the goddesses and gods. Stay dangerous, and to all, enjoy your holiday. Happy holidays. Happy Kwanzaa. This will be the last show before Christmas and Kwanzaa starts. And until next Monday, again, I want to thank you, Cherisa, and I will I have a event with my mentee group tomorrow from 3 to
Oh,
5:30. So I will leave there and come straight up to
all right.
Ypsilanti
Thank you.
to support you all. They having some issues with their college application process. They behind the 8 ball. One of them will graduate from high school in 5 months. I'm like, the sense of urgency is just not there with these kids. That's another problem that these kids have. Well, young adults.
Yeah.
Let me call them kids. They're young adults. They got to get
the sense of urgency.
It makes no sense. You don't have your college. A lot of applications and being accepted to college, but you behind the 8 ball right now if you have not filled out that FAFSA. Well, we call it natural 8 forms back in the day. They call it FAFSA. So again, I want to thank you and all you do. Much love to you. You're one of my favorite Deltas. So much love to you, and I will definitely look forward to seeing you soon tomorrow. And to all,
tap me on my shoulder now, Eric. Tap me on my shoulder, because when I get in the.
I know you be busy. You be in your zone. That's your platform. So you definitely, I have to let you know I'm there. So until tomorrow, wish all a good night, and hopefully everyone will be safe between now and the end of the year. And I wish everyone, even though I have one more show this year, I still want to wish everyone an amazing 2026. Hope all that you have planned and dream for 2026 come to fruition. And if not, keep praying. As long as you believe in him, he believes in you. He'll take care of you, and he do it on his time, not your time. So again, good night to all, and I will see you next week.
All right. Take care.
Thanks, Cherisa.
Bye-bye.
Bye.